The first thing to avoid when you start intermittent fasting is skipping a meal. This is probably the most common mistake because intermittent fasting is not eating less, it's eating less often. And when you simply skip a meal, you're missing out on a third of your protein needs for that day. And protein is needed to make sure that you're not hungry during your fasted state and that you're actually able to achieve a body recomposition goal, which is where you're losing body fat but not losing muscle. This is why I personally still follow a 3-meal structure with intermittent fasting, and you can follow a 2 or 1 meal structure, but you need to really make sure that you're increasing the protein amounts at each of those meals to account for the protein that you would have had in one of those missing meals. Because if you're not getting enough protein, you're likely going to be really hungry, crave sugar, and maybe even lose muscle in the process. So if you're wondering how much protein you need, you can check out this video right here, which my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition human performance. And today's video is sponsored by LMNT. More on them in a bit. Now, the second thing to avoid when you start intermittent fasting is any type of fruit juice. Fruit juices are very condensed sources of sugar and they can really spike our storing hormone insulin. One of the main perks of intermittent fasting is that it reduces how often our storing hormone insulin is going to be spiked. So if you break your fast with something that really spikes your storing hormone, then it kind of negates any of the benefits that you would have had with intermittent fasting. Instead, if you're having fruit, it's really important to have it in the whole form and not from fruit juices or even dried fruit. The third thing to avoid when you start intermittent fasting is under-salting your food. During the fasted state, your insulin or the storing hormone is going to be lower. This is great for fat burning purposes. It allows your body to tap into fat burning mechanisms. But something else that happens here is that the body starts to lose water and salt, or specifically sodium. This can lead to the common fasting side effects of headaches or lower energy or muscle aches. And you can very simply offset this by just making sure you get enough electrolytes, especially sodium. You can salt your food with a high quality sea salt, and to help make sure that you're covering your electrolyte needs, including magnesium and potassium, you can even use a fasting specific electrolyte replacement like today's sponsor, LMNT, because sodium is the electrolyte we lose in the greatest amounts when we're fasting. And unfortunately, a lot of other electrolyte companies don't really add in enough sodium to help balance this out. I love that LMNT was actually designed with intermittent fasting in mind. So it provides sodium, potassium, as well as magnesium to help balance electrolyte levels throughout your intermittent fasting journey. And especially if you're exercising while using intermittent fasting, it's particularly important to make sure that you are replacing your electrolytes, because when you sweat, you're losing even more sodium. I personally love using the unflavored LMNT. I'll have this during my fasting period, but they also have a ton of really great flavors like the raspberry salt or the citrus salt. And LMNT is offering my viewers, the AM peeps, a 7-day free supply of LMNT, and all you have to do is pay for the shipping. So it's a really great way to test it out, see if it's something that you like, and see how it feels to actually have all those electrolytes during your fast. And check out the link in the description down below to test out LMNT. Now, the fourth thing to avoid when you start intermittent fasting is maintaining your usual workout routine. It can take a few weeks to transition over to using intermittent fasting and actually burning fat as your fuel source. So in the meantime, you want to make sure that you're actually maximizing the type of workouts that will help your body to burn fat. That can make the transition a lot easier, because if you're used to using higher intensity exercises like high intensity interval training, those types of exercises actually use carbohydrates as a fuel source. And when you're in that transition phase before you really start to burn fat as fuel, performing those HIIT workouts can actually increase your sugar cravings and your hunger levels during your fast. So instead, at least for the first 1 to 2 weeks or so, I usually recommend incorporating lower intensity exercises like walking, light swimming or cycling, yoga, or even lower intensity strength training. And then after that transition period, reincorporating your usual type of workout routine. Okay, the fifth thing to avoid when starting intermittent fasting are gummy vitamins. Most traditional capsule style supplements won't break a fast unless they contain protein like collagen. However, gummy vitamins will always break a fast. One serving of gummy vitamins typically contains anywhere between 1 to 6 grams of sugar, and sugar will break your fast and it will spike that storing hormone insulin. So if you have like 3 different types of gummy vitamins, that could be anywhere between 3 to 18 grams of sugar. So not only will that work against a weight loss goal if that is your goal, but having that during your fast will break a fast. So instead, you can opt for the non-gummy vitamin version of the supplements that you're taking. And for seeing this all put together, you can check out my daily intermittent fasting routine as a nutritionist with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.